Alright guys, so I just wanted to get a quick sort of my take on this Synology hard drive locking kind of drama, and I will try my best to not repeat what everybody else already said, but there's a few things that I think were not discussed at all, and I do recommend, in order to get a full perspective, go and watch other videos. For example, a wonderful video made by my friend Frank from WonderTech and Tony from QuickTech Solutions. But here's my take and things that I thought were not discussed at all. So let's start off with the fact that I'm collaborating with Synology for a long time, have been and probably will be. I am a big Synology fanboy, and I always say that they're the premium product, maybe not in hardware, but for sure in software. I've been working with Synology products even before starting this video, so that's what sort of my full disclosure here. But that doesn't mean I approve of every decision, and this is a prime example of that. So let's start off by saying that, of course, I can understand the business logic behind this decision. Of course, I can understand the justification or the stated justifications for this decision. And I also think that Synology is a trustworthy company. So if they're saying that the drives that they're relabeling, we'll circle back to that, go through rigorous verifications and testing, I believe them. And I also think that it's perfectly legitimate in the business world to Synology having a goal of making more money. It's a financial company, they're not a non-profit organization, and we as customers can vote with our legs. We can either continue to buy their products or buy their competitors, but the strategy of Synology to make more money is a legitimate strategy. That's on the one hand. So everything is understandable. I'll tell you what I think is the most, let's say, hardest pain points for me, and I'll tell you exactly what I mean. So for the longest time, Synology have been my go-to products. If we'll examine sort of who were the most people that bought the Plus series, they're not enterprises. And I know that because I'm a full-time IT system administrator, and I've worked in big companies, for example, Intel, so I know that when enterprises buy storage products, they rarely buy Synology, they buy enterprise-grade storage solutions, like, for example, NetApp. If they buy a Synology, they will probably buy the enterprise-grade, like the RS series or the enterprise-grade rack-mountable devices. The people who bought the Plus series the most were the home labbers, the prosumers, the small businesses. For enterprises to spend thousands of dollars on storage devices and then a few thousands more on hard drives, that's a non-issue. In fact, in companies like that, I'm used to having policies that drives are replaced every 3 years, regardless if they're faulty or not. But for the people who mostly funded the Plus series of devices, to tell them to go and buy and spend a few $100s on a storage device, and then to spend a few $100s more on hard drives, that's the equivalent, to me, in my opinion, to a slap in the face. And that's gonna send people feeling the equivalent of how could you guys do this to me after all the time we spent together? That will be the vibe, I suspect. So I hate this new drive storage or drive locking policy, even though I do see Synology as an esteemed, respectable company. I think this is where the most, or the focal pain point, because this is going to hurt mostly people that are going to find it hardest to spend a few $100s on storage devices or hard drives. So I think this decision has the potential to mark the gradual disappearance of Synology from the home lab sphere. I think that's how I see things. On the other hand, I can say that Synology have never obligated to not do this before. I think that someone asked a Synology executive if they're going or they're planning to do a drive locking in the future? And I think that the answer was this is not on the table at that point in time. And I do believe them that it wasn't on the table, but it is now. And I think that this will be the starting of the demise of Synology from prosumers or home labbers in the sort of sphere. And that's the main pain point for me. So that's sort of my main point here. Everything else was already said by other people, and I do not want to be repeating them. Synology should have, from the get-go, do the drive locking alongside third-party drives that will be approved, because if I understand correctly, Synology will support hard drives taken from the, for example, 923 NAS device, and you can sort of import them into the 925. So other third-party drives can work. They've proven it. They can work with the 925. It's just a sort of a artificial kind of locking, which is very annoying. So on the one hand, I can understand the policy. They're a company. They want to make more money. They want to deliver a premium, let's say, product without any issues. And third-party drives were always the sort of a pain point for Synology because they had no control over the drives, but now they will have. So I understand everything, but bottom line is it will hurt the most to the people that have funded this series the most, and that's a pain point. All right, guys, that was my take on this drama. I hope you guys like this video, and of course, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you all in the next video.